All right, let's talk about what just happened in Buffalo, because this is the kind of move that can change the tone of an entire season. The James Cook contract saga is officially over. Done. Finished. No more speculation. No more practice hold-ins. No more guessing games. James Cook just signed a 4-year contract extension with the Buffalo Bills worth $48 million, with $30 million guaranteed, locking him in through the end of the 2029 season. And let's be real, it was about time. This deal had been hanging over the Bills' training camp like a cloud, and the moment it got done, you could feel the shift. Cook himself said it best. Let's play football. That's it. No dramatics. No big statements. Just straight to the point. And that speaks to the type of player he is: focused, determined, and, above all, essential to what the Bills want to do offensively. Now, is a little more money than some expected? Sure. It comes in just above what Kyren Williams got, but it's still not in that top-tier running back money range. And honestly, it feels like a fair balance for both sides. Cook gets his well-earned security, and the Bills keep a key weapon around for the long term. Now, let's be honest. Some fans are starting to talk themselves into alternatives. Ray Davis looks solid. Ty Johnson can hold it down. And then there were the diehards trying to convince themselves that Dion Dawkins was the second-best offensive player on the team. But come on, let's not overcomplicate it. There's Josh Allen, and then there's James Cook. Period. Cook is the most electric playmaker not named Josh Allen wearing a Bills uniform right now. And for a team that has constantly preached the importance of developing talent, drafting well, and re-signing the right guys, this move checks every box. Look at how this whole situation played out. At first, there was radio silence. Then we saw Cook show up to camp, participate in practices, and do everything by the book, but still without that contract signed. Then came the hold-in. Not practicing, standing on the sidelines, sending that quiet but firm message. I'm here, but I'm not taking the field until this is done. And it worked. He wasn't loud about it. He didn't make it messy, but he made it clear. And the Bills' front office, to their credit, got the job done. There's a maturity to how James Cook handled this entire process. And if you were paying attention, you could see the strategy. Show up for mandatory camp? Check. Participate early in training camp? Check. Then take a calculated pause when negotiations stalled? Absolutely. That's business. And at the end of the day, Cook made it clear he believes in himself, and he was willing to bet on that belief. Asked if he felt misunderstood throughout the process, his answer was stone cold. Y'all don't know what I'm going through, and y'all's opinion don't matter. That's not arrogance. That's focus. That's a guy who's locked in on what matters and knows what he brings to the table. And what exactly does he bring? Let's rewind to last season. For rushing touchdowns of over 40 yards, the only guy in the league with more was Saquon Barkley. That's the kind of breakaway ability you can't teach. He's not just a solid back, he's a home run hitter. The kind of player who can take pressure off Josh Allen, keep defenses honest, and turn a routine handoff into a game-breaking play. That's rare. That's valuable. And that's why the Bills made the right call. And here's the thing. It's not like the Bills are throwing money around recklessly. They've been pretty calculated this offseason. This was the 6th extension they've handed out, and the 4th from the 2022 draft class alone. So, clearly, they've identified the core pieces they want to build around, and Cook is very much a part of that vision. Now, it's worth talking about the timing, too. The extension dropped right in the middle of camp, just days before the joint practices with Chicago and the next preseason game. And you could see the shift immediately. James Cook was all smiles. He looked relaxed. Even Brandon Beane joked about it, saying Cook was actually jovial for once. This is a guy who's normally all business, so to see that kind of emotion tells you everything you need to know. He wanted to be in Buffalo. He wanted the deal. He just wanted to be valued. And let's not ignore the bigger picture here. In today's NFL, running backs are constantly fighting for recognition. The position has been devalued in recent years, and plenty of talented backs have either been let go or forced to take less than they deserve. So, for Cook to secure a deal like this at this point in his career is a big deal, not just for him, but for the league perception of what a high-level running back can still bring to the table. He's being paid like a top 6 or 7 back in the league, and you know what? He earned that. Every bit of it. As for what this means for the offense, it's simple versatility. With Cook back in the mix, this team can win in more ways. He allows them to control tempo, to eat clock, to explode on big plays, and to keep defenses from selling out on Josh Allen. The Bills don't need Allen throwing 50 passes a game to win. Not when they have a guy like Cook who can carry a chunk of the load and force defenses to respect every inch of the field. And the depth behind him, it's solid, but let's not kid ourselves. Ty Johnson is a strong third-down option. Ray Davis brings a nice change of pace. But none of them have the juice that Cook has. None of them force defensive coordinators to game plan the same way. Cook changes the math. He changes the momentum. And now he has the contract to match his impact. Let's also not forget the message this sends to the locker room. Draft, develop, reward. The Bills have talked that talk for years, but now they're walking it. This isn't just a move about numbers and production. It's about culture. It's about showing the team that if you put in the work, if you perform, if you handle your business the right way, you'll be taken care of. That builds trust. That builds buy-in. That's how you keep a locker room unified through a long season. Now, was this deal a surprise? For some, yeah. There were folks who thought the front office might not be willing to commit big money to a running back, that they might try to go cheaper and lean more on a committee. And honestly, that wouldn't have been shocking, especially given how other teams have handled similar situations. But this move? This shows that the Bills recognize what they've got. They're not playing scared. They're pushing chips in and saying, we're going for it. And timing matters. Josh Allen is in his prime. This is not the moment to get conservative. You surround your franchise quarterback with every weapon you can, and you push to win now. You give him reliable playmakers, explosive guys who can flip the field, and trusted teammates who have been through the grind with him. James Cook checks every one of those boxes. And let's be real, the offense needed this. We've talked about it for months. Lack of explosive playmakers has been one of the biggest issues. Teams were locking in on Diggs, putting the pressure on Allen to do it all, and there wasn't enough help around him. Cook isn't just a safety valve, he's a weapon. And his ability to make something out of nothing, to turn a busted play into a gain, to make defenses pay if they sleep on the run game, that's invaluable. So now that the deal is signed, sealed, and delivered, the focus shifts. There's no more uncertainty. There's no more distractions. It's all about football now. Cook is locked in. The Bills are locked in. And if you're a fan of this team, you should be feeling good right now. Because they didn't just keep a good player. They kept a difference maker. While James Cook's extension is undoubtedly the headline, the rest of the story unfolding in Buffalo is just as intriguing. With one major question answered, attention now turns to what this team actually looks like heading into the thick of training camp and preseason action. Cook may now be secured as a long-term piece of the offense, but that doesn't mean everything else is set in stone. Far from it. From wide receiver battles to injury concerns and positional depth questions, this roster is still being shaped every single day, and the clock is ticking. Let's start with the offense because while locking in Cook adds stability, there are some real unknowns still lingering around the wide receiver group. And it's hard to ignore just how much scrutiny Elijah Moore is under right now. The truth is his absence from practice is starting to raise serious questions. The coaching staff has said this is a big week, not just for recovery, but for guys to prove they belong, to show they're part of the plan moving forward. But Moore hasn't been on the field. He hasn't shown that urgency. And in a room that's getting more competitive by the day, that's a problem. When the Bills signed Elijah Moore, there was buzz. People saw the potential, the speed, the supposed upside, the idea that with a better quarterback and system, he could finally pop. But we're still waiting. And in a league that doesn't hand out second and third chances easily, waiting can be costly. Right now, the reality is this. The Bills are getting production and flashes from guys like KJ Hamler, who's stacking plays in practice and showing real separation ability, and even players like Tyrell Shavers, who, despite being banged up, has played with grit throughout camp. So when you start weighing options, it becomes less about name recognition and more about output. Curtis Samuel, when healthy, gives you versatility. Khalil Shakir, when available, is already trusted by the staff. Keon Coleman is locked in as a top guy moving forward. So where exactly does Elijah Moore fit in? If he's not on the field and he's not making plays, it's tough to justify a spot. especially when there are special teams contributors or emerging threats pushing for those same limited roster slots. And sure, fans will argue he's had bad quarterback play in the past. But let's be real, Garrett Wilson had the same quarterbacks and still managed to shine. Jerry Jeudy, same story. At some point, it's no longer about who's throwing you the ball. It's about whether you're showing up when the ball comes your way. And for Moore, those moments have been few and far between. This is the third team of his young career, and you don't bounce around that much if you're delivering week in and week out. Availability matters. Consistency matters. And right now, he's just not checking those boxes. But Moore's situation is just one part of a broader storyline, the injuries. The list of guys not practicing is growing. And while some absences seem precautionary, others are starting to raise red flags. Dion Dawkins didn't practice. Elijah Moore was out again. Curtis Samuel is working on the side. Khalil Shakir was seen out of the boot recently, which is encouraging, but there's still no full go from him yet. And while none of these seem catastrophic individually, taken together, they present a concern about continuity. Because it's not just about having talent, it's about that talent being ready to go come week one. There's a fine line in training camp between resting players and missing valuable reps, and the Bills seem to be walking that line with some key contributors. We know veterans like Dawkins will likely be fine. His absence might be nothing more than management, especially after his tweet joking about getting cookies from James Cook after the extension dropped. But for guys like Moore, this isn't the time to be unavailable. This is the time to be stacking good days. And if you're not, the next guy is going to pass you. On the flip side, there were some positive injury notes. Safeties Taylor Rapp and Cole Bishop are both progressing and even got into some teamwork during practice. That's a big deal for a position group that's expected to have a key role in this year's defense. The Bills are still sorting out how they want to rotate guys in the secondary, especially with a focus on versatility and coverage flexibility. So having both Rapp and Bishop trending upward is something to monitor closely. Now let's shift gears a bit, because while the wide receivers and running backs are stealing the spotlight, the defense quietly continues to have some strong showings in camp. Landon Jackson flashed again with a couple of impressive reps. Jordan Hancock got pressure up the middle on what would have been a clear sack in game action. These are the kinds of moments that help guys secure roster spots. Not the highlight reel plays, but the consistent ability to win your rep, to make your presence felt in a crowded depth chart. There's also something to be said about the overall energy around this team now that the Cook deal is done. With that uncertainty lifted, the offense feels like it can finally start to settle into its identity. Josh Allen doesn't have to answer questions about Cook. The coaches can shift focus entirely to scheme, execution, and getting reps. It sounds small, but having clarity like that matters, especially with joint practices and preseason games on deck. The Bills are heading to Chicago soon for joint sessions with the Bears, and then it's back into the preseason slate. These next few weeks are crucial, not just for ironing out the depth chart, but for building rhythm, for figuring out who this team really is heading into the regular season. And make no mistake, the bar is still sky high. This is not a team rebuilding. This is a team trying to contend. Every decision from this point on has to reflect that urgency. And that includes decisions like possibly cutting a player like Elijah Moore. Is it shocking? Maybe to some. But in the NFL, shocking is the norm when performance doesn't meet expectations. If Moore can't get healthy and string together solid days soon, the Bills might have to make a tough call. The front office clearly isn't afraid to make bold moves. And with guys like Shavers pushing hard and others contributing on special teams, keeping a player based on past reputation alone isn't going to fly. Whether it's Cook stepping back into his role, Hamler making noise, or younger players trying to earn a helmet for Sunday, every snap counts now. Every rep matters, because this is the phase where dreams are either realized or cut short. This is the point where a player either grabs his shot or watches it slip through. And in Buffalo, with expectations sky high, only the very best will stick. Before we dive back in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest Buffalo Bills updates straight to your screen. And hey, don't hold back. Let us know your thoughts on today's news down in the comments. Rumors are swirling around the NFL as whispers grow louder regarding Dawson Knox potentially shaking the very foundations of the Buffalo Bills. Sources close to the team suggest that the talented tight end, who has been a central piece of the Bills' offensive scheme, might be on the verge of leaving the organization. While nothing has been officially confirmed, the buzz in league circles hints at a combination of contract negotiations, personal ambitions, and perhaps strategic differences that could drive Knox toward a new chapter in his career. Fans have begun speculating about the ripple effects this move could have on the Bills roster, wondering if the departure of such a pivotal player might force the team to rethink their offensive strategy or invest heavily in replacements. Conversations on social media and insider platforms indicate that multiple franchises could express interest in acquiring Knox, and the possibility of a blockbuster trade seems increasingly plausible. Analysts have also weighed in on the potential market value of a player of Knox's caliber, emphasizing that his proven skill set and chemistry with Buffalo's quarterbacks make him an asset that would attract significant attention from teams seeking a reliable target in critical game situations. The suspense surrounding this potential move is gripping the fan base and creating a tense atmosphere within the league. Speculation continues to mount as insiders discuss the potential destinations for Dawson Knox, suggesting that a move could dramatically shift the balance of power in the AFC. Teams reportedly exploring the possibility of acquiring Knox might view him as the missing piece to elevate their passing game or provide a reliable red zone threat that could turn close games in their favor. Rumors have linked him to franchises with deep pockets and a desire for proven offensive weapons, igniting conversations about salary cap maneuvering and the long-term strategic planning required to secure a player of his caliber. Knox's versatility as a tight end who can both block and create mismatches in the passing game makes him an attractive option for teams looking to diversify their offensive playbook and inject new energy into their lineups. Sources suggest that negotiations could become a complex dance involving multiple parties, each weighing the benefits of a trade or signing against the potential disruption it might cause to team chemistry. Fans are already imagining scenarios where Knox's departure could open the door for emerging talents to step into the spotlight, while rival teams anticipate the tactical advantages of integrating a player with a skill set. The unfolding situation has become a hot topic in sports media, with speculation intensifying around the timing, structure, and ultimate destination of the rumored move, keeping the NFL community on high alert. Inside the league, the chatter about Dawson Knox leaving Buffalo has taken on a life of its own, with rumors suggesting that the tight end's potential exit could catalyze a flurry of trades and roster reshuffling as teams attempt to capitalize on the uncertainty. Observers note that Knox's departure might force the Bills to reconsider their offensive hierarchy, potentially elevating younger players or prompting the acquisition of complementary talent to mitigate the loss. The rumor mill has pointed to several franchises reportedly preparing to make bold moves should Knox become available, signaling that his impact could extend far beyond a single team and alter the competitive dynamics across the conference. Analysts speculate on how his unique combination of size, agility, and football intelligence makes him an asset that could seamlessly integrate into multiple offensive systems, further intensifying the competition among teams vying for his services. The ongoing conjecture has led to widespread debate among fans, commentators, and insiders about whether the Bills would seek to match offers, trade him strategically, or allow him to explore free agency, each option carrying significant implications. As the uncertainty lingers, social media platforms are abuzz with predictions, mock trades, and hypothetical scenarios, amplifying the sense of drama and anticipation surrounding this potential shakeup in the NFL landscape, making it one of the most talked-about developments of the season. Meanwhile, speculation regarding the timing of Dawson Knox's potential move continues to dominate discussions, with insiders suggesting that the coming weeks could be critical in determining the trajectory of his career. Sources indicate that contractual considerations, team priorities, and Knox's personal ambitions might converge to create a perfect storm for a high-profile departure. Rumors suggest that negotiations could extend into a prolonged standoff, with the possibility of surprise announcements at pivotal moments during the preseason or early in the regular season, fueling further intrigue among fans and analysts alike. The tight end's proven ability to execute in high-pressure situations adds to his value, making the prospect of his relocation a tantalizing prospect for teams looking to enhance their offensive weapons without relying solely on draft capital. Media outlets have begun to dissect every interview, social media post, and public appearance, searching for hints or indications of Knox's intentions, feeding the growing speculation surrounding his future. With every passing day, the rumor of his departure seems to gain momentum, raising questions about the strategic ramifications for both the Bills and potential suitors. The NFL community remains on edge, as the possibility of Dawson Knox redefining his career trajectory introduces a dramatic element of uncertainty and excitement, keeping the sports world glued to updates and insider reports. That's a wrap for now. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of all things Buffalo Bills, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments. See you in the next update.